remember when I made this mistake myself. I used to be emotionally invested in girls that were not interested in me. In fact, they actually wanted to get away from me, but I held on for dear life. I was pathetic. Looking back at it, the signs were so clear that she wasn't into me, that she wasn't interested. She probably laughed with her friends, and rightfully so. When you don't respect yourself, you deserve to get treated like a clown. But at the same time, I don't want you to get hurt or treated like a joke. I remember how I used to think I didn't need to change. I always had this idea that others had to accept me as I am, and if they didn't like it, it was their own problem. The crazy thing is that I was a man full of anger and trauma. I was an aggressive man, and I've hurt many people, and yet I thought I had no red flags. I never self-reflected or stopped to take ownership of my own actions, until one day I was left all alone in this world. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I did not like what I had become. So I decided to change. I let go of the chains of trauma from the past, and for the first time in my life, I felt free. I felt like I could truly start to improve myself, but it wasn't easy. My past traumas tried to pull me back in, and the childhood version of me did not want to change. The childhood version of me was fierce. He was abused and full of anger.
You are a coward! I thought you were a Spartan!
That young boy refused to accept that I was going to change as a man. He tried everything he could to remind me of the pain and suffering in my life. But after a hard internal battle, I was able to change my ways and break through my traumas.
Coward!
After that, I began fixing the red flags about myself. That is what real self-improvement is. Listen, one of the reasons why I started this channel is because I feel like I need to repay the world for my actions. I must pay the price for my sins and make up for what I've done. I remember when I was joking around with a friend about different things, but he got too comfortable and started to make a joke about my goals. The moment he did that, my demeanor changed instantly. I looked him dead in the eye and told him to never do that again. He apologized, and he never did. You see, if people don't support your goals and dreams, the bare minimum they should do is shut up. I don't care if it's your best friend or your family. What you want out of life is not something to laugh at. I remember how my father didn't care about me when I was younger. He left us behind, and I hated him for it. And by extension, I hated myself. When I looked in the mirror, I hated what looked back at me because I saw his features in myself. I tried to deny reality, to deny I was his son. But reality is very stubborn. No matter how much you try to deny it, reality will not change. So I was forced to accept it. And as a result, I walked with self-hatred for years. I'm not going to share a sad sob story here. We all have our past. A long time ago, I used to have a training partner, and we had brutal training sessions together. The only problem was, we would both come in late sometimes. So we made a rule. For every minute one of us came late, that person had to do 10 burpees. 10 minutes late would be 100 burpees, and that was before the brutal workout even started. After both having to do countless burpees, we learned to respect each other's time. The truth is, I used to suck at communication. I struggled forming clear sentences and making genuine connections with others. And because I was bad at it, I acted as if it wasn't important. My actions are more important than my way of communicating. That's what I convinced myself of to cope with reality. I was a fool until I grew older and started to see how effective communication is. That's when I realized power is nothing unless you can turn it into influence. Finally, I began working on my communication skills, and it improved my life and leadership abilities in many ways. But I still wanted to test how much influence can be gained from just communication. So I started this YouTube channel to see if communication is truly as powerful as I thought it was. And as you can see, the channel blew up because people understand what I'm saying and connect with the message, even without me ever showing my face or physical presence. I say that because I used to be the monster without self-control, and I've caused a lot of pain and suffering. You see, my past was a very dark one, and because of that, I've been a monster for most of my life. It was necessary for survival, and anyone that comes from a part of the world that's more violent or dangerous will understand what I mean. However, because I lacked awareness and self-control, I've hurt a lot of people in my life. Some thoughts still haunt me to this very day. As I've grown older, I've learned to control my inner beast. I became more civilized by choice. But make no mistake about it, I still have that same monster inside me. I would never get rid of it. In fact, I bring it out whenever I need it. And if I had to pick between being civilized and harmless or keeping the monster, I'd keep the monster. I used to be an aggressive communicator back in the day, and although I got a lot done, it caused people to resent me. I was not fit to be a leader. I know I'm sounding harsh, but I used to be the guy that didn't have any control over his life. Looking back at it, I had all the bad habits you can think of, but it all changed when I realized my mind was being controlled by a lizard. So I tamed the lizard and regained control of my life. You may think I'm joking, but I am serious. I used to be extremely cold-hearted myself. I had zero care or empathy towards others. Right now, we have over 1 million subscribers, and brothers from all over the world are showing me love and support. But it wasn't always this way. My past was the exact opposite. When I was a young boy, there was no love, there was no support. I didn't grow up in a nice household with 2 loving parents. No, I was simply born into violence, and I've seen traumatizing things no child should ever witness. This turned me cold-hearted quick. For years of my life, I didn't care about anyone, and I know many guys are the same. They've experienced something so painful that it just made them cold-hearted.